All right, hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Replit live build. My name is Rymar and I'm here inside of Replit HQ. We are going to go deep into mobile applications today. The excitement last week was palpable when we launched this, and a bunch of you are already in build mode. Well, there is a Discord server. Some of you may have heard that as part of this Buildathon, we're experimenting with a Discord server. So yeah, we're gonna talk all about that. We're gonna talk about the Buildathon. We're gonna talk about mobile apps. I got Manny in the background. We're gonna riff on all sorts of stuff as we build here. We're gonna build a cool app live. So I think we're gonna build a full app. I don't know that we're gonna ship it all the way into the App Store, but we will publish and push everything and kind of walk you through the entire process of thinking through from the prompt all the way to getting the agent going and then setting up your Expo and test environments and getting everything kind of moving forward. So what's up everybody? Is this video recorded? Yes, this will be recorded. For anybody who's wondering, this is just live on YouTube. So this will exist, just this link itself will live on in perpetuity for anybody who's watching into the future. Let us know where you're watching from. We're always excited to see that. And we, if you've been keeping up with us, you know we analyze all of the comments. So we're watching for things like feature requests and stuff you'd like to see us build. We're also going to share, I see a bunch of you have been going to the livebuild.replit app website. If I go to the site here, let me switch over one time to this screen share here. Oh, hang on, I'm zooming in on the wrong place. There we go. Let me zoom in over here. Okay, so yeah, on this livebuild.replit app, a bunch of you have been suggesting and voting for what you'd like to see us build next. So just so you know, and then all the resources for this stream are going to be here after the build. So if you've been keeping up, you know that we keep the opening prompt here, and then we have any resources. So if you're interested in joining the Buildathon, and this should be in the YouTube description, this link right here for this resource page should be in the YouTube description right now if you're watching this on YouTube. And Manny, if you could maybe post that into the chat and pin it. That way folks can find their way to the Buildathon website. And the Buildathon is mobile-buildathon.replit.app. Again, that will be on the resource page along with all the prompts and everything here for this build. So if you want to go in the YouTube description, you can click and find your way to that. But bunch of cool prizes. A ton of people are already in, again, the Discord server. There is a Discord that goes with this. We're piloting it. This is not for general community stuff, but for managing this Buildathon. So if you're interested in getting involved with us and helping us kind of figure out what we want to do with the Discord as we move forward, that would be a great place to start as part of this Buildathon. Let's look at these prizes real quick because there's some big cash prizes. First place, $10,000 cash and or $15,000 in Replit credit. That'd be great if it was but or. And then a visit to HQ, I think, is really where the win is. Obviously, the cash is a big deal, but the marketing spotlight, the attention that could come from that. And then second place down from there, 5,000 cash or 10,000 Replit credits. Again, you get that marketing spotlight and the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Third place is 2,000 in prize or $8,000 in Replit credit. Again, that marketing spotlight. We want to shine as much light as possible on the folks who are building mobile apps with Replit right now, because it's such an exciting entry into the market. Building web apps and all that, that's super cool, but being able to build mobile is a whole other step. And then 4th through 10th, $1,000 in Replit credits, opportunity for Replit marketing spotlight if your app is stellar, and then other things that we might come up with for that. So yeah, go ahead and head over to mobile-buildathon.replit.app. I'm gonna drop this here in the chat, boom. So you guys can get to that right away there. Okay, that's enough with that. Let's walk through a little bit. Let's do this, actually. Let's intro Manny. Let's bring Manny in. What's up, Manny?
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Reimar? How's it going? Manny coming to you live from a hotel in San Francisco.
Yeah, so Manny's going to be hanging out in the background with us, keeping an eye on all of your comments and thoughts and things you want to do. I'm going to be focused on the build, but we're going to have plenty of time to chat. So what I'd like to see is, let us know what you're building in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about. We already know you're wanting to know, hey, does this support Android, and how many credits is this going to use? Do I get free credits for part of the Buildathon? You know, it's like we already know the questions that are going to start to come in, and we're going to talk about all that through the stream. So sit back, relax. I'm going to open up a Replit panel here, and Manny, anything exciting coming into the chat that we should be paying attention to right meow?
People are curious about how to register for the Buildathon. So I dropped the link on all of our channels, and also you should see it scrolling right here for you. So go and click on that. Once you register there, you're going to get an invite for our Discord. This is what folks are asking about as well. How do they get invited to the Discord? Register, then you'll get an invite to the Discord. You'll also get a list of the events that we're planning. So those are two main things.
Correct. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. Let's jump in here. Let me find the right one. Boom. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I've got a couple demos that I built that I want to take you through. We're going to build something that we're calling Palette Picker. So I'm just going to grab this prompt. I'm going to go to my dashboard, and we've talked about this before, but the prompt, context, kind of everything comes down to what you get from this. However, with the mobile app, I've kind of been having good success with fairly simple prompts. So what we're going to see here is I'm going to paste this in. And I'm not going to paste in other instances, you've seen me paste like this big auxiliary thing with like lots of features and other things. I'm just going to paste a fairly simple prompt here for the mobile functionality, and then we're going to build out on top of that as we go. So what I'm telling it is to create a simple mobile app that lets me take a photo of anything from my phone. Let's say, call the app Palette Picker. Okay, and then you see I've got it on mobile app selected here. Right, so I'm going to tell it I want a mobile app, even though I told it up here. I'm just going to reinforce that. And you could go into build or plan mode here if you wanted to. Right, so we could plan this out if we wanted and work with the agent to kind of get a step-by-step task list for what we want to do. But I'm just going to go ahead and hit build on this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit build, and I'm going to send it. And as it sends it, I'm going to read what the prompt is. So I have a design background, and I've been tinkering and building things on the web all the time. And a lot of times I struggle to find like cool colors or things that or color palettes that I want. And so what we're going to do with this is basically I've told this to create a simple mobile app that lets me take a photo of anything from my phone or use a photo from my camera roll to create a color palette from the image. So I wanted to use AI to extract colors from the image and return a nicely organized list of hex codes, RGB, etc., color codes that are extracted from the image and available to be copied easily. Call the app Palette Picker. And what's really cool about how this is going to work is you're going to see it do everything from creating the application to creating like icons and loading screen assets. And if you know anything about like developing mobile apps, you know that even just getting set up so that you can see and test this thing on your phone can be a challenge at times. You have to set up Xcode and testing environments. And so for a long time, building mobile apps has been fairly complicated and fairly like a high technical hurdle. You have to be on a Mac device, right? So you have to be, first of all, on an Apple device. You have to be inside of this like really tightly configured coding/development environment that has its own languages and its own protocols and its own setups, like all these its own like dependencies and requirements. And then obviously the publishing to the App Store. And so what is cool about what's happening right now with being able to build in Replit is that because this is happening on a virtual machine through the browser, you could be on any device you want, even your mobile device. It's kind of meta. You could build mobile apps on your mobile device now. You could be on a PC, you could be on a Mac, you could be on a Linux setup, you could literally be on whatever kind of compute setup you want and be building and tinkering on these mobile apps, which is super cool. And the functionality you get from Expo is actually pretty powerful, this Expo Go. So if you don't know, Expo Go is the way to test part of these applications on your phone. And if you were on the live stream last week, which we can have maybe Manny give us a quick brush up on some of that, we had one of the developers from Expo Go chatting with us about the functionality and how this kind of came to be and what you can do with testing. So I would definitely recommend go check out last week's build if you're interested in kind of learning more about that as we go. So let's check in on the agent here. I know sometimes, most of the times, like we try to like stay away from this stuff, but I kind of like to see what's going on here. So integrating with OpenAI, let's see what happened back here. Search Replit's integrations. Okay, so it's figuring out that we want to use OpenAI. Let's see, decided on OpenAI integration. I've built the palette picker app for you. This app will use OpenAI's vision capabilities to analyze images and extract color palettes. So what it's doing is it's looking for the AI assistant, the vision capability to be able to snap a photo. We're going to send the photo to OpenAI. Here's what it looks like it's going to do. And then it's going to try to extract all of the colors from that. And I have my mobile phone here. So we're going to walk you through everything, even testing. And I think if I show you here, you can see that my screen is literally on the screen here in real time. So we will be showing you how we test and kind of pull all of this in together. So let's see. Let's do this. Let's go full team. Let's bring Manny in. Let's see if anything's happened in the comments. Let's see, we're about 3 minutes into the agent build. It's generating the app assets. Oh, this is super cool. This is cool to look at. Generate the app assets and build the front end. Let me update the theme, generate images, and create all the components. So this is cool. It's creating the different images, palette picker app icon, splash screen icon, empty state illustration. These are actually quite beautiful. I'm not always in love with the images that it creates, but these are nice. I like this a lot. Added an app JSON. Okay, pattern image placement. Now let me copy the generated image assets. Okay, so it's putting all the screens together for us. Create all the components, color extraction library. So it's just kind of cool to see this all happening in parallel. All these different things kind of being put together. And I'm always excited to see what the UI is going to look like. I didn't give it a lot of guidance into like, the type of interface I wanted, the type of components I want. You could get a lot more specific with this. And I'd be interested to know if anybody in the comments is like playing with mobile apps yet, what you're building, what you've tinkered with, like, how are you finding the process? I'd love to hear that. And maybe we can review some of those. So let me look through some of these pinned comments, Manny. What's coming through? Such a cool opportunity, 100%.
Yeah. Couple questions. When is the deadline for your submission? That is February 13th. So right before Valentine's Day. So you got to hustle, get your app in, then you can go enjoy your Valentine's Day. Also, another question, some folks are having trouble loading up the website. It's working fine for me. Anybody else having that problem, please let us know in the chat, but maybe it's just kind of a local thing for you. And then question number 3 that we're getting is, can we convert an existing app into a mobile app? Unfortunately, not right now. Mobile has to start from scratch, and so you're going to have to build that fresh as a mobile type build. And we've got some tips and some hints on how to do that. If you want to know more about that, let me know in the chat.
There are ways to connect the application. So you could give the mobile database your web database. Like you could give the mobile app the web database and connect it through just the data. And you could also expose the APIs, right? So if you could ask the agent to expose some of your APIs from your web app, and then mobile application will have to talk to them, and then you have to think about authentication and security, and making sure those endpoints are secure as you pass data back and forth between them. So it's a little technical right now, but for sure the team is looking into how do you make that more seamless, because that's been one of the most requested things. It's like, hey, I already have an existing web app. I don't want to have to rebuild all of the structure, all the backend logic, all that stuff. I just kind of want to start using it in the mobile app. And I think that's going to be a big piece of how they think about moving forward here. So let's take a look here, because the app's ready. Let's go back and see. So 6 minutes ago, we jumped into this with the prompt, and what you're going to see, so what you see immediately is you see a preview in Replit on the left here. All right, so let me go actually to this view so that we can go a little bit bigger on the screen here. Okay, so what we see here on the left is a preview of the application, right? Just like you would on the web app version of it. But what you're going to see that's new when you start playing with mobile apps is this little prompt screen to preview on your phone. And like I said, I have this on my phone. What you're going to need to do is download Expo Go initially, right? So if you haven't done this yet, you can just come in here for iOS or Android. You come in and you scan the QR code. This will take you to the App Store, and you install the Expo Go app on your phone. This is what's going to let you scan this QR code underneath here and bring that into your mobile device and be able to test everything as you would expect. And then when we publish the App Store, you're going to need to do this one more time with an app called Test Flight, which again is a little bit more realistic testing environment. Expo Go is kind of like a simulated testing environment, and we'll talk about this more later, but Test Flight is basically like a full working reproduction of what the app is going to look like when you publish to the App Store. So once you have this installed, you just take your camera app, and I'm going to switch to this view. Oh, no, hang on, I got to do this first. Open an Expo Go. So here what we have is loading the application on my phone. You can see that on the right side of the screen here. And this is, again, in real time. I'm just using my device. And you can see, let's see how this works if I take a photo. It needs permission, so I'm going to allow to give it camera access. Okay, now you're seeing literally on my camera where I'm at here. Let's do something like this. Take a photo of that, and we'll use that photo. Failed to extract colors from image. Please try again. Okay, so cannot read base property of 64 of undefined. Okay, so I'm getting some kind of error here. I wonder if I can't copy this because it's from my phone. Of course not. Okay, so let's go back to the agent. We've got our first little snafu here, which bums me out because this thing one-shotted it the last time I built it, but let's give it the error here and just see what happens. Okay, everything seems to be working. I was able to access the camera, but I'm getting a base 64 of undefined. I'm getting a type error, cannot read property, base 64 of undefined. Error extracting colors. So the process of extracting the colors, I'm not sure if we're formatting the image properly, if we're translating the image properly. We need to make sure we're using the proper libraries inside of Expo for translating the images and sending it to OpenAI for the color extraction. Can you look into this, please? Okay. So again, I'm using WhisperFlow. If you've been watching, I use a a speech to text translation tool for this called WhisperFlow, which allows me to talk to the AI, and it's way easier than typing. So basically what I did is I gave it the error that I saw on the mobile device here. And one of the cool things about working with this is that it gives you these errors, and I do believe the agent has visibility into these Expo logs. I could be wrong about that, but I do think they have access here. And so I see the issue. File system encoding time, base 64 is undefined. Let me fix the color extraction code to properly read the image. I made a note to myself yesterday about this with one of the other apps. This expense tracker here. I wonder if this might help. All right, so let's see if this works. Let's see if this fixes it. If not, there were some image stuff that I played with yesterday that I had to give it a little bit more prompting. And so if you're familiar with any of our streams, one of the things we do on a regular basis is we kind of have to go through and like troubleshoot this stuff, right? So sometimes it works perfectly and we get exactly what we want. Sometimes we don't get exactly what we want and we have to think through that. And that's what makes this kind of challenging at times, because maybe you don't know exactly what's going wrong, but it's also what makes it so exciting when you figure it out, because problem solving and working through some of this stuff. And then this is where you separate yourself as a vibe coder or as somebody who's building with these tools, is the ability to kind of troubleshoot and solve or find some of these, troubleshoot and find the solution for what you're looking for here. So, okay, I fixed both issues. Base64 encoding fix, changed from using Expo file system, file reader API. Okay, maybe that was it. Let's see, increase the express payload size. All right. Okay, so the images were small. Like 100 kilobytes is pretty small for an iPhone image, so maybe that was it. So, okay, so let's go over here. What you have to do is 3 fingers. You click on the phone. I'm going to reload the application here on Expo. So again, I'm on my device. Maybe we can go to this screen. All right, let's see if this allows me now to take a photo. Use the photo. Extracting colors. It looks like it's working now, so let's go back to the full screen. Yeah, so it looks like it's working now. It's going through the process of extracting the colors. There's no palettes left. There we go. Extracted colors, fiery coal. There's my hex codes. There's my RGB, HSL. I can copy these with one click. Shadowy charcoal, storm gray, soft ivory, terracotta blush, deep slate. So there's the colors from the image. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Oh, how do I get back? Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's try another one. Let's try something more fun. I got these cool kicks on. Let's try these. All right, let's see. Manny, what's going on in the comments? What are people saying?
Okay, some really good suggestions for folks in terms of what they're looking to build. I saw someone looking to build a food delivery app. And there's also a couple of people that are asking about building a language learning app. And the reason why I like these is because it takes advantage of features and options that you have on the phone that you might not have otherwise. So the food delivery app makes a ton of sense because your phone has native GPS. All phones have that, right? So it makes sense to build a food delivery app. The language learning app, I really like that because your phone has a microphone and can listen to speech and can interpret that speech. And the nice thing about the language learning app that I like is that it can take advantage of our AI integrations. This is a really nice feature with this new mobile build type, is that you can use our AI integrations feature just like you would on a web app, and that allows you to embed languages from large language model providers, OpenAI, Anthropic, OpenRouter, Google, and embed that into your app. And people were using that for web apps, but now you can do that for your mobile app. So I can see someone building a language learning app that kind of maybe listens in on something and passes it to a large language model and interprets it somehow. So that, I think that would be neat. So we've been talking about, like, okay, what would you build in mobile that is better to build in mobile versus a web app? And so I think those are some good examples.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to build and so much to tinker with here, and I think like we're just starting to scratch the surface. Like we could literally, where are we at? You're not gonna believe it. 9:23.
It's a sign, dude. Boy,
Bro.
For context, for everybody that's not in on this, when Reimar starts these builds, for whatever reason, at mark 23 into the stream, we get our first build, like a first prototype we can play with. And so
every time we check the time to see how long it's been, literally, I think like for the last 3 or 4 builds, it's been at like the 23-minute mark where I don't know, I check the time. And it's not like I'm doing it on purpose. I wish I was thinking about that, but that's wild.
So wait for the simulation, dude.
Yeah. Choose from library. Let's see if it lets me pick from, okay. So it's gonna literally pull in and allow, let's see. I'm not sure if this is smart. Let's go. There's from the airport. I'm just going to open up my photo gallery. Oh, okay, hang on. Right on live. Whoops. People are like
See.
screenshotting, trying to dock
right.
something.
Just a bunch of reimbursements.
Okay, so there you go. Boom. Extracted color, midnight blue, electric sky, soft sand, warm beige, golden taupe, rustic olive. So this is cool. You know, and you could see, maybe you want to change how this like shows up, right? Maybe we want to, you know, like make this palette a little nicer. I can see at the top, the header is kind of transparent and I can't really see the UI here. So,
Can I make
you
a
know,
suggestion as well?
yeah.
Well, first, let me tackle one thing that I'm seeing in the chat. Okay, if you want to get an invite to the Discord, first you have to go to the Buildathon website and register. I'm going to put it here on the bottom so you can see that, and then you'll get a welcome email with an invite to the Discord. And again, this is our first Discord. It's experimental. It's just going to be for the Buildathon. Later on, we might have a general community Discord, but for right now, this is just for the Buildathon. So register, and then you'll get the invite to the Discord. Number two, Reimar, so here's how this might be helpful for me, and I'm just brainstorming here, and I'd love to hear from the chat, what would you think? So one thing that I like to do is I like to take photos of designs that I like, because I'm not a designer, but I'm trying to learn. Like, so I try to like, oh, that's a really neat design, I love that, and then I have it in a swipe file so that I can reference later. And I think it would be really cool to update that so that when to take a photo of something, it maybe describes it, so it can pass it through like an image, large language model. It can describe it like, oh, this is like this style, like this is this technique, because they're like different styles that I'm learning too. Like this is more retro, and this is more like digitized or pixelated. And as a non-designer, I'm learning all those terms. And then the palette thing is pretty cool too, because you can say like, oh, this is the palette for this particular design. And so I can see myself having an app where I go and I'm like, oh, that's a lovely design. I love it. Snap it, snap it, snap it. And then the app is automatically categorizing it and pulling all the meta information for me. And also maybe later on, we can use semantic search to quickly go through my favorite examples that I've been capturing for the last year and pull up exactly what I want at that point. So just some thoughts. We don't have to do that right now, but that's something that I would find very helpful as someone that's trying to learn more about design. Because what I'm finding is, the problem isn't so much building now, it's describing. So I have to be able to describe it to AI and say, like, I want a 1970s retro look, pixelated type of landscape poster that's with somebody in the foreground kind of thing. And so I need to learn that language to be able to direct AI, if that makes sense.
So, quick question. Okay, so I want to do one thing here. I like where your head's at. I want to do one thing here because it's not saving my palettes. So let's make sure we're saving the palettes. And then what I want to maybe see if we can add is a like prompt generator so that you could take a photo of something and have it describe the style. Right, so so you can take a picture of something or upload an image and have the AI describe the style as a prompt that you can use to create another style of something else, so that you could use as a prompt for whatever. So hang on, give me 1 second here. Okay, this is all working great. I see the color extraction is working and the app is testing properly on my phone. However, the screen is not showing the palettes that I've already extracted. It's not saving the palettes that I extract from the images. Can we make sure that we're storing previously extracted palettes and displaying those on the home page so that I can see my gallery of extracted palettes? Okay.
Okay, Reimar is coming back in. While he's doing that, I saw a couple of other questions here. Just one tip that I'll share with everybody. Reimar had an error earlier on his mobile phone, and then to communicate that back to Agent on the desktop, he had to describe it. You can do that, but what I do, I do a screenshot on my phone, and then I airdrop it to my Mac. And then and then I copy paste that, and then I put that into the Replit agent prompt so that agent has that reference. I just want to drop that tip for everybody. People are also asking about design. So let me see this here by Miser, and let me. Okay, cool. Can we please ask them to improve the UI a little bit? Yes, you can. So here's something that's worked for me. I've gone out and I have researched different designs that I like from different examples. And going back to my swipe file. So again, I'm just like scanning like for good design, and I'm saving them because I know I'm going to use them later. And when I start a new build, I'll go out and find good examples of that. So last week on the stream, I did a fasting app. And for that, I went out and I was looking at different other fasting apps and what they were doing. And I was just getting, taking those screenshots, saving them. And then I used those to pass it on to Replit as a reference. So in case you don't know, in that initial prompt, when you build with Replit, you can pass on images as well. So, and you can also pass on a lot of different text. You can like put in like several paragraphs of context as well. It won't show up in the prompt itself. It'll show up as an attached file or text input, but you can drop all that context as well. So if you're looking to help with design, I would suggest you grab examples and you drop it in there. Second thing that I'll comment there is that we've been getting this comment like, hey, Manny, can we start off our builds in design mode first and then move to the mobile app type build? That is coming soon. That's something that we want to give you. We know a lot of you start with design mode and you get some like really beautiful looking UI in design mode. That's not the case just yet, but that's coming soon. So stay tuned on that. And I think, Chris, that's going to help a lot with your question here. But for right now, my suggestion would be grab good examples, drop it into the context for that initial prompt, and let Agent kind of build on that. Okay, so Manny loves it here. Yeah, I do love it. Other questions that I'm getting. Paywall in monetization. Yes, this is one of our top requested features. It's something to the effect of like, hey, Manny, now we're able to build these great apps, get them into the Apple App Store. How do we monetize these apps? And there are a number of different ways. You have Apple Pay. You can integrate Stripe. You can integrate other services like Revenue Cat. We're still working on bringing that together, and we're still building that out. And so I think for right now, like just think about the app functionality that you're building, and then just keep in mind that we're going to definitely bring on board support to help you monetize your apps a lot more. We're like eager to help you get to your first dollar on your mobile app. And right now we're troubleshooting that and making sure that all of that works, because that's really tough. Integrating payments and making that work seamlessly is going to be really tough. So, but it's definitely on our radar. For right now, I'd say focus on building, focus on understanding the process of getting your app in the App Store, understand the process of testing in the App Store. Reimar mentioned earlier that there's 2 ways to test your application. In Replit with Expo Go, so that's the application that Reimar is using right now to test it. That's how I tested my first app. But then also in TestFlight, which is the production version of your app. This is the version that all the users are going to see on the Apple App Store, and the reviewers are going to see in Apple as well. So you want to get familiar. You want to get familiar with testing on TestFlight and how to do that. The other thing that you want to get better at, and this goes for me as well, so I'm giving myself a tip here, is how to upgrade your app in the App Store. So there's a whole process. So like say you get your app approved and it's on the App Store, and you want to make changes, you get feedback from your users, or you get to the point where you want to integrate payments. How do you make those changes on the Replit side and push those through to a new version on the App Store for people to download and to use? And there's a couple of different steps to follow there. I think we'll probably have content on that during our Buildathon, so I think it's important. But those are all things that you can do to kind of to help you just get familiar with the overall process of building mobile applications.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, folks. Not sure what happened there. We had a USB disconnection, so I had to reset the whole setup over here. But we do see that now we have the colors extracting here, and it's now storing a gallery of the images, which means we can go on to add this other feature that we wanted to add, which was the prompt generator. So if we're cool, I'm just going to go back into build mode here. And I saw a couple other suggestions, folks, talking about maybe different features or different things for tightening up the UI. So, and I heard you mentioning and talking about some of that. So maybe we can tighten up the UI a little bit as well. But let's see if I can think a prompt here to. Okay, we want to add a little bit of functionality. Everything is working great here. Instead of just extracting the colors from an image, I would also like to have the AI return a description of the style of what I'm looking at. And so this is intended to help me generate style prompts for creating design assets. So if I'm looking at a retro style image, a pixelated image, I want it to describe that style. If I'm looking at colorful shoes and a bright, vibrant palette and modern, I don't know, whatever, I want it to describe that so that I can copy and paste the description, the design description, the color description of what I'm looking at as a prompt to maybe guide if I want to recreate an image in that style. So I'm looking to create a style prompt from the images that we upload here along with our color extraction. Okay, so that was a little long-winded, but I just going to show that I just talk to this thing most of the time when I'm like tinkering with this. You just, I talk into the whisper flow, see what it spits out. Sometimes I'll go in and type and update that, but on a lot of these live streams, I just like to show y'all that it's fairly raw and that we're just doing this stuff. And somebody said, I saw something in here. I'm gonna take a little shade where it says, where is it? Where is it? You should practice before doing this stream. How dare you? You have no idea how much we practice. It's just hard sometimes getting it all right and making sure everything goes perfect. So appreciate you. And we are all trying to do as best we can to make these better. But we do spend a ton of time practicing. If I go over here into this tab, you can see that I have like a receipt tracker, another palette picker, a daily nudge app. And if I showed you my apps in the back end, you would just see a string of different types of apps for all the different live streams. So we really do put a ton of thought and time into prepping this stuff. Go ahead.
Totally fair, John. And this is something that we always debate. Like, do we go live and show you the full process for an hour and a half? Or I can go and record something and have something that's very polished for you in 5 minutes. In fact, if you go to my channel, if you go to Replit, there are examples of that, like me going, from soup to nuts, like in like 2 minutes or 5 minutes. But I think people really appreciate seeing the behind the scenes and like everything, the entire process. And so if you're looking for something more polished, definitely on our website, go get that. But I think for here, like we're trying to show you like the full experience for us. And as builders, all the hiccups that come up, all the things that might go wrong, and show you how we troubleshoot it, how we power through it. And I think that might be helpful for you as well.
That's a really good point. I mean, I think about that all the time. Like, we could easily put a prompt in and switch to a tab where things have been updated and the package is already done. But like that takes away, I think, from the authenticity of like what we're trying to do here, which is like show you in real time how to use the tool, which means sometimes we're going to stumble through and sometimes we're going to be tinkering and pushing the boundaries of what this thing can do. And like if you were around when we did the browser extension app and like just right at the end we're like, let's add AI to it. It's like it's totally unscripted. But let's see how this worked, because it says it did the prompt capture. So let's see what happens if I just take a picture of my second monitor here and see what comes back. So it's going to extract the colors. Let me go to this view. Yep, you guys are seeing that. Okay. So it's going to extract the colors, and what I want to see is like how good the prompt did it. Okay, let's see. Modern digital workplace aesthetic with dark UI elements and vibrant accent highlights. Minimalist design emphasizing neutral tones contrasted with warm yellows and bold blues. Sleek and functional, reflecting a contemporary tech-focused user interface. I bet Restream.io would love to hear that description. And it even added like a one-click copy button. And then there's the extracted colors. So I like this, but there's some UI stuff here that I'm not in love with, and I don't want to gloss over that because mobile apps style and UI is really important. So, and I wanted to actually, let's do this real quick because somebody asked how much does it cost? How much does it cost to build mobile apps? So, okay, so $283, we'll call it $283, $1.36, so that's $3, $4 and a quarter, let's call it. There's $5. Let's just go through, and another 75 cents. So we're under $6 here, and I have a mobile application that allows me to take a photo of anything or update a photo from image library and extract not only the colors, but also create a prompt, a style prompt for that image, which is super cool if you're a designer. And you know, there's been tons of times where like a resource like this would have been super helpful for me. But again, let's go through now. I'm going to start a new chat because I want to kind of just start context over. And every time we start a new chat, we refresh the context. And I'm going to tell it, okay, I'd like to make a little bit of UI design refinement. When I'm in a palette view, after the color and prompt has been extracted, the header is white, which means I can't see the UI. I know we're pushing down to allow for the notch, but we might need to fill the background there so that our back arrow and other UI elements are visible on that view. And what I'm telling it here, I'm going to send it. Let's go. Let's see if I can, if it's going to let me. Let me see if it'll extract from here so that I can use my element selector to pick the screen. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm going to give it something in the web browser because we've been using my phone to test this up until now. But I want to show, there it goes. So I want to basically use my element selector here to come over to this area and actually click on the screen because I couldn't do that on my phone here. And if you're not familiar with how that element selector works in Replit, you just come down here and then you can pick an item on the page or an element on the page to pass that as context with your prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that. And I think what we're going to find out is that this is transparent, and the transparent is allowing white to come through, white maybe being the default background from the app. And so that's why we can't see the UI here. And so I think that's what will be resolved. Let's see, I want to answer this question. It says Expo Go is $150 per year. I'm already paying $180 for web version. I have not had to pay for anything using Expo Go to test this or to have the application, or, you know, this doesn't cost anything. So if you're paying for Expo, maybe you're getting additional services or you've got some kind of setup, you know, directly with them, or you're testing other stuff. But in this instance, building with Replit, it does not cost anything. You should not have to pay for anything using Expo.
One caveat, Expo Go and using Expo within Replit is free to use, but in order to push to the Apple App Store, you will need an Apple developer account. And that
Correct.
is roughly $100 per year to set up, but that's on Apple side. And I suggest that you get going on that as soon as possible. Just because it could take a little bit a while for Apple to process that and give you that account. Okay, I think Ryan frozen here. All right, so in the meantime I'll answer some other questions that I'm seeing around testers. I'm seeing questions around test flight and testers. Yeah, so when you go, so two ways to test. You're coming in and out, Rymar. Two ways to test and have other people test your app. Number one is with Expo Go, that QR link that you see, you can share that with other people, and provided that they also have an Expo Go application on their phone, they'll be able to download it and test it just like you are on your mobile phone, which is pretty neat. You just share that and say, hey, can you guys test it out? Also, in test flight, there's an opportunity that's on the Apple side. And again, that is the closest thing to production you're going to get. That's what your Apple users are going to see. You can create an external testing group and invite people to that group, and then you can share a link to your app and they can download that app. And I think that they also need test flight on their phone to be able to test that as well. But that's another way to get a group of testers on your app. And I see that quite a bit on X. Like, people are coming up with new ideas and they want people to test it, and they ask for volunteers, and then they'll DM them a link to that external group within TestFlight. Another question that I saw is, do you need a Mac to test with TestFlight? I believe that is the case. In order for you to test via TestFlight, you will need the TestFlight app on your phone to be able to do that. I believe that's the case. How do we publish? This is a good one, actually. How do we publish updates to TestFlight having issues? Okay, so to publish something to TestFlight, you need to go through the Expo wizard in Replit, get that build in the Apple App Store Connect, and then you'll be able to see it in TestFlight. There's a tab on the top, and maybe I can have Rymar show this a little bit later. But there's a tab on the top that says TestFlight, and then it'll go there. Now I had the issue where I needed to make an update to my code base and then redeploy, test it again, and resubmit it to review to Apple. In which case I went to Replit, I had Agent make the change, I republished in Replit, and then republished to the App Store via the Expo launch wizard, and then it became a new build in Apple App Store Connect. Sorry, there's a lot of terms that we're going. You probably need a schematic for this. And so if you need to make a change, you can go back to Replit, have Replit make the change, and then push it back to App Store Connect in the same type of way, and then you'll see it as a new build in App Store Connect, and that's what you'll resubmit for review and approval from Apple. Somebody asked about authentication. If you need to authenticate your build to Apple and Play Store, yes. And in fact, this has been one of the toughest parts of getting your app in the Apple ecosystem is something called certificates. So it's like managing the permissions and all that, and just making sure that Apple knows who you are as a developer, etc. And that used to be really tough, but the new Expo launch integration handles all that automatically for you. That's one of the nice perks of going this route. You don't have to worry about that. So long as you're logged in to your Replit account, so long as you're logged into your Expo account via Replit, it'll push all that through, so you don't have to worry about any of that. Okay. Someone saying, sorry, they missed the demo build. No worries. Again, to remind everybody, this is all recorded. We record all of our streams. This is live, and you can actually go right now and go back a couple of minutes or maybe like 20 minutes to watch the build. I also did a full walkthrough, not as detailed as Rymar's here, on Friday when we did the launch, and that's also going to be on our YouTube channel. So you can always go to YouTube, go to live, and then you'll see all of our live sessions there. All of them are recorded. They're all there for you to reference a little bit later. Let's see what else. What other questions have we gotten? We've gotten questions on the Buildathon, credits for the Buildathon. Right now, we are not offering credits for you to participate in the Buildathon. That's going to be on your own account. But that said, there's some pretty hefty prices. Pretty hefty prizes that I think will make up for it. So again, if you go to that website, you're going to see all the prizes that we have listed. We're like up to like the 10th spot. You're getting a lot of great stuff, including credits to make up for that. Somebody asked whether or not kids can start building on this, or if you can build for free. The answer is yes. If you go to Replit and sign up with our starter plan, that's our new freemium model. And there you'll get a number of daily credits to be using towards your build. Now, you may run out of credits, but the good news is that they'll refresh on a daily basis. So if you start building something and you run out of credits for that particular day, just wait 24 hours and your credits will get refreshed, and then you can start building again as well. So starter plan is a great way for everybody to get started building on Replit. Recommend you start there if you're sensitive about price, and then also for kids, for family members that are curious about building, understanding what is vibe coding, understanding what is building with AI. The new starter plan is a great option, so definitely go and check that out. All right, MC, any other questions here? Somebody asked about help with prompting and whether or not we have a prompting guide. The answer is yes. Matt Palmer have put together a really nice prompting guide. I have to find that. I'll find that and either include it in the chat or include it in the follow-up email. Again, if you RSVP'd via Luma, you will get a follow-up email with all of the links, all of the resources, and a recap, and a link to the replay for this build. So Go to that Luma event and sign up, and you'll get the follow-up email from that. In addition, I would also recommend using our prompt optimizer in Replit. So let me try to share my screen, and then let me show you that while Raimar is coming on. Let's see if I can share my screen, entire screen. Okay, neat. So if I go to Replit and I move up here, you'll see that I'll put a prompt in like build me a swipe mobile app where I can save cool things I like. Okay, and if you notice, I have this little improve prompt button. This is so clutch. So just click on that, and that prompt will get fed into the prompt optimizer, and I should get like a more refined prompt here. So web-based, swipeable, cool. And if you notice, it's not perfect because I asked for a mobile build, but you can swipe that and change that to mobile build. And then you can go here and change this to mobile app. And so you see it automatically change it to mobile app here. And then you can start building. But this is also a really handy template for your prompts. And so I suggest that you leverage this just to get some tips in terms of how to structure your prompt. Then you can click start building. It'll kick this off. So hopefully that's helpful. So let me stop sharing my screen here. Okay. Very neat. So let's see any other questions that I'm getting here as well. Let me look at the chat. Let's look at some of these in the chat. Manny, thank you, Chris. So yes, yeah. For reference here, I came in on Sunday to cover a big hackathon that we had here in San Fran, and I was live streaming for like 9 hours. So go again. That is on our YouTube channel and live. You're gonna see the Aleph hackathon. And yeah, I was wearing this hat. A lot of people like this hat, and I've gotten a lot of questions around Replit swag. I want this swag. Francisco's in the chat, so I think maybe we need to be giving out a little bit more swag, Replit swag. So when Francisco comes on board, we'll ask him and see if maybe we can have some swag for the community. In fact, let me maybe bring him on here while we're waiting. What's up, Francisco?
What a great time to bring me on.
I know. I need, this is a team effort, man. And again, this is live. We call it the Murphy's Law of live streaming. Something always goes wrong, but that's why we have a team. And that's what makes it kind of fun. But Francisco, a couple of things that we've been getting questions from on the Buildathon. Yeah. Number one is the Discord link, and the answer there is that you first sign up for the Buildathon, then you'll get an invite, and you'll get a follow-up email with details, and you'll also get a link to the Discord. So make sure you do that. People have asked about. Yeah, go ahead.
So sorry to interrupt. Yes, so that's absolutely correct. So we encourage everyone to join the Buildathon. One thing I want to do also say is, like, even if you're not potentially like trying to compete to win, if you really just kind of want to learn and like build with other builders and learn how to kind of dig into mobile a little bit more, we completely like want you there. We really want to invite everyone to kind of join. Some of the folks will be competing, and that is awesome. And like, we'll be helping along the way. And for others that just kind of want to learn, like, please feel free to join in. And one of the things that we'll also be doing is Reimer will be kind of creating some programming in between, a little bit more off the cuff, a little bit of kind of like more informal, but a good chance to kind of do like, show and tells and just like kind of like internal builds. On that note, yes, in order to join the Discord, which is just kind of like this like small temporary Discord we're building just for the Buildathon, you do have to sign up and register. And then what'll happen is we're giving out invitations on a rolling basis, just because we have so much interest that we're trying to make sure we kind of like, slowly add people in. probably by the end of the week, it'll just be automated. So any folks that join, probably after, I don't know, Thursday or Friday, we'll just kind of get it instantly. But there will be a big invite going out probably by the end of the day today. So keep an eye out for that for any of the new folks. I think we've had almost 500 people sign up just during this session here. So just trying to make sure we can kind of like bring on everyone in and get everyone up and going. But yeah, so more information to come on that. On the goodie side, before I pass it over to Manny, yes, I am working on goodies right now. I am first working on a big batch for our ambassadors and just kind of those folks part of the ambassador program, which I'll drop in some more information in. But we're going through some, new updates, let's say, here at Replit. So I'm just trying to wait to make sure that we have everything up and going before I start sending out some new goodies. But yes, a lot more goodies coming very, very soon. I'm hoping to do like significantly more giveaways, probably the next probably 2 months. So we'll start kind of having different chances to win some of the cool gear and just so get in the hands of the people that are supporting us the most. But yeah, sorry, Manny, I think I interrupted you.
No problem. Yeah, on that note of just joining, Marcelo was on the stream on Friday, and he had a great quote from somebody at Y Combinator when he joined Y Combinator. It's like, just join, just try to get in there. Even if you don't have a fully baked idea, even if you're not sure what you're going to do, just try to apply and try to get in there. And I think a similar sentiment here is just join. It's free to join. And who knows, you might get your idea as you start seeing other people share their ideas. You might start building with someone and work, as a group. Now, everybody has to submit their own app, and it's only going to be one submitter per app. But you can work with other people, get help with other people, and learn as you go. I think the other question that we're getting, Francisco, is around credits for building in the Buildathon. And right now, it's we're not offering any free credits for participants. It's just you use up your own credits as you participate. Is that fair, Francisco?
That is correct. And one of the things we're trying to kind of implement is on the Discord as people join, we're going to try to find different ways to kind of do like credit giveaways. So we had a couple different ideas. So probably starting this week, you'll see different opportunities to just kind of sign up, participate, and we'll be able to give out, credits along the way. So please join, and then there'll be kind of just a couple different chances to be able to pick some up as you build.
Yes. Also, the questions around the deadline. The deadline is February 13th, so right before Valentine's Day. So get your builds in, submit your build, and go have a fun Valentine's Day for everybody. Someone's asking here, is there a way to allow kids to build for free? Yes, as I mentioned earlier, you can build on our new starter plan. So that's our freemium plan. And you'll get a number of daily credits you can use. And if you run out for that particular day, just wait and it'll reset in 24 hours. So that's another way for you to get started.
Yep, absolutely. And then I'm seeing a couple of different folks drop in. I think some of the, our builders are actually getting to the, to the point where they're actually going to submit their own app. So two things. One, you do not have to submit an app to be able to join the Buildathon and then join a Discord. Like you can just join, register, and then you'll be able to kind of, sign up there. And then, again, so I'm seeing a lot of questions come in. Once you sign up for the Buildathon, you will then get a registration link to be able to join the Discord. Those are going on a rolling basis. So at the end of the day today, we'll be sending out a big blast. Just because we have so much interest, we want to make sure we invite people in batches to make it a little bit easier. Later on in the week, it'll be more instant and people will just kind of get it as soon as they sign up. The second part is you do not have to submit an actual app to be able to be a part of the Buildathon. If you want to just come in and build alongside with us, you're more than welcome to as well. And again, we very much welcome people. The last thing I'll say is there's a lot of questions about having to submit with a REPL link, REPL. We're looking into that currently. So probably by the end of the day today, we'll be able to have that updated. So you don't actually need that. It's one of the features that's needed only on the Teams plan, but we're going to make sure we update it so that anyone can submit. So that's coming up very, very soon here.
And I keep seeing this comment around the Discord link. Again, first go to mobilebuildathon.replit.app. You see it streaming down here. It should be pinned in the comments as well. Go there, register first, and then you're going to get a follow-up email, a welcome email with the Discord link. So that's how you get onto the Discord.
Awesome.
While we're waiting, Francisco, I also saw some questions around supporting, I guess, educational hackathons, school programs. I know we've been talking about that. Any updates on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna set up a kind of like a landing page here pretty soon, where people, if you're actually having a build-a-thon, or excuse me, like a hackathon at your local university, we'll make it very easy to be able to get like credits for your attendees who are joining, especially those who are joining for the first time. So there'll be more information going out on that pretty soon. Probably by the next stream we have next week, we'll have a page up and going, so you can kind of submit and be able to be considered for free accounts for folks to just kind of be able to build for the first time. I had a couple different conversations last week and different organizations we're working with. So we're getting up and going and kind of being able to push that out. And then for a couple different folks asking about the mobile, actual build, who are tuning in to kind of learn more. I'm seeing some message here from Patrick. We actually had a couple of technical difficulties. So Rymar is getting back in here. As you can see him kind of, setting back up. But we'll be back to normally scheduled planning here very, very soon.
Yes. And again, we did a live stream on Friday where I covered all the things that we're launching with the new mobile stack. I did a walkthrough of the different steps from going from an idea to having your app in the Apple ecosystem for review. That was on Friday. Go to our YouTube channel, go check that out, and I'll drop a link to that as well below. Here's another question, Francisco. How about credits to support startups?
Yes. So at the moment, there's I can't talk too much about it, but there is a programming coming up very, very soon to kind of support that a little bit more. The Race to Revenue program was kind of like our predecessor to this. So I think after that program ends, we'll talk a little bit more about getting folks, more support on the startup side of things.
Yes. If you enter the Buildathon, who owns the app once it is submitted? It goes directly to me. I own it. Totally kidding. No, just like with anything you build on Replit, it's totally yours. And I saw this question earlier. If you build on Replit, who owns it? It's all yours. You're working with Agent to build it, but the code base, that's all yours. And if you want to export that in a zip file, you can do that. If you want to save that to GitHub, to a Git repo, you can do that. If you want to keep it on Replit and host it there, that's totally fine. But the IP, all of that, that is all yours for you to keep and to do what you want to monetize that how you like. So that's always yours. You build it on Replit, you own it. This is a great thing.
Absolutely. And then one thing I'll talk about, just because this question has come up a lot, and I know that we've kind of talked about it in past streams, or I guess really right after we launched the Buildathon, is a lot of people are asking, can you simply have a current project you're already working on and then just convert it into mobile and publish it as mobile? At the moment, that currently is not possible, but it's something that's like literally we collected all the feedback from the live stream on Friday. Man did an amazing job, sent it over to our engineering team, and it was like the top of the list. So the team is very, very much aware of it and actively looking into it. So we're hoping to have that functionality very soon. There's a couple different workarounds. You can essentially kind of convert it over a little bit more manually, but we hear you, and it's definitely something that's like very, very top of mind for us currently.
Other features that we're working on. Yes, we heard you, Android users. When are you going to make it as easy to publish to a Play Store? A couple of thoughts. One is we're using Expo. And the nice thing about Expo is that it builds everything in React Native, which works for both Android and for iOS. Previously, if you wanted to build mobile apps, you'd have to pick one or the other or build them in sequence. So you would build either your app phone first, your Apple app first, and then your Android app second, or vice versa. And the nice thing about using Expo is that it'll work for both of the platforms. Now, what we launched on Thursday was the ability to one-click your application directly into the Apple App Store via Replit. And people really love that, got a great response. People really appreciate that. And we're working hard to bring the same functionality to the Android Play Store as well. So hopefully soon, you'll be able to one-click your application into the Android ecosystem for their entire review process, which is probably going to be similar, but will be different from the Apple review process as well. The other big ask that we're getting is around converting existing builds to the new mobile type. And yes, our team heard you loud and clear on that one, working hard on making that possible. I know some of you have already built mobile optimized applications that are probably like both mobile, but are also really good, that are on the web, but also really good for mobile and you want to convert that into a proper mobile app, working on that as well. The other question that I'm seeing is around how do we have applications that both work web and app simultaneously, maybe using the same databases, also on the team's radar to make that easier for you, because you might have a web portal of sorts, but then you also might want to have a mobile app for that to make it easier for people to access your services on the go. So also on the team's radar. People have been asking about monetization. So Revenue Cat, Stripe, Apple Pay, integrating that into your mobile apps. As I mentioned earlier, that is on the roadmap as well. We want to make sure we get that right when it comes to payments. You don't want to be messing around. So that is also on the roadmap as well to make it easy for you to take payments on your mobile apps as well. So that's also coming also.
Absolutely. And see a couple of questions here. One from Rooch. Is it mandatory to do it on test flight? If you want to submit an app to the very end and just like a final app, yes, test flight is required. Another question I saw from you as well is, kind of the Android store. We currently only support iOS at the moment, but again, additional support is coming very, very soon. So keep an eye out for that as well. And then a lot of questions on the Discord side again. So currently, as soon as you register, we will get your registration, and at the end of the day today, we'll send out another batch of Discord links coming up very, very soon. One question here we have from Andres. So actually, Raymar is currently just troubleshooting a little bit on his end. So we're hoping to bring Raymar back very, very soon here to talk a little bit more about on the mobile side of things. But again, if anyone has any additional questions that we can answer, where we're kind of going through the chat currently.
Thank you, Nidhish Kumar. I saw you posting this question a couple of times. A couple of thoughts here. One is you can port your Replit build into GitHub, and so that would be one way to do the branching thing. We also have an option on our teams and enterprise plans called projects that I've used to do different branching. So you would have one project, you'd have an app there, and then you could do forks of that. And it's helpful to build out new features or to have people build out things and then merge it back to the app. And then the other option that I do is I remix things quite a bit. So I'll have an initial build, and then I'll remix a version of that, and then I'll do some work on that, and then I'll remix a version of that. That's another way that I get around that as well. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Hey, Raimar, welcome back, dude.
What's up? What's up?
Live streaming, dude. Something always goes wrong,
Oh man, yeah. I don't know what happened, but got a full crash. Had to restart everything, and anyway, yeah. Hope we got through the majority of the build, so hopefully folks saw that. And I've been able to listen on a secondary device, so I kind of been keeping up with what y'all are talking about. So not sure where to jump back in, but. Yeah, the Q&A is going good, and it seems like folks are excited about the mobile stuff. So I'm very excited to maybe we can pick up next week and refine some of the functionality on the application. Maybe we'll build something else. Keep an eye on, like Francisco said, some of the Hangout sessions. If you're part of the Buildathon in Discord, we're going to be doing some live build stuff and experimenting with some of that too. So.
Folks have been asking about the rules on the Buildathon. Francisco, do we just want to go through that and kind of just clarify that? Oh, perfect.
Good question that came up.
Yeah. So the rules of the Buildathon. So yeah, head over to that site and you can kind of scroll through these. Anything to call out here? I think the big one for me from last week, Francisco, was every you can work as a team, but there's only going to be one submission per person. So just kind of maybe agree upon how you might divvy up the prizes if you end up winning. But it's going to be one submission per person there, just to be mindful of.
Yeah, absolutely. I would check out the rules, the full rules itself. Yeah, it's only one. You can work as a team, but only one person will be kind of submitted in the end. Also, only one app is able to be submitted to be like really considered. I think we're updating the applications that people can update their submissions. So feel free to check that out as well. And I would definitely check out criteria too. So just on the criteria side, there's kind of a really good overview of what we're expecting and what is helpful. So I would just take a read through that and let us know if you have any specific questions. As for pre-existing projects, that shouldn't be an issue because a lot of people are already working on, like, let's say like a web app or just a different project. And essentially what tends to happen is they want to kind of convert them into mobile apps. So yeah, so if it's a previously, something you've been working on, you're more than welcome to kind of submit that as well.
A comment here from Antoli. Yes, what we face every day, and again, we do it live to show you like the stuff that we deal with on a regular basis. Just kind of show you how we go through all this stuff. So definitely.
I think a couple of these things to call out real quick on this judging criteria. Like standing out with the application. And then this one was novel or creative problem solving. So I think this is like not just building the application, but also looking at how the criteria are going to be judged, the user experience and the design. So it's got some nice getting started but standing out, right? And this is where you want to look at. You want to try to make sure your application stands out because there's going to be a lot of submissions. And you want to make sure that not just your concept, but like the idea, and then when we get in there to test these applications, we want to make sure that we can navigate them and kind of experience the app as you intend it. So make sure that you're putting that extra polish and kind of thinking through what a novice user, right? A lot of times when we develop stuff, we get used to building and we get used to using it, and we're super familiar with how to get to the thing that's most useful. But you have to also think about that experience from a brand new user, from the folks who are testing this, and then like that whole onboarding process. So again, and then just this is where you can really stand out, is how are you using Replit to push the boundaries? Any additional integrations? Yeah, I don't know. And then obviously getting involved in the community, right? Like a lot of us who are interacting with this stuff are going to be hands-on with these. And so, yeah, lots of cool opportunities for you to stand out and try to get your app in front of the whole Replit umbrella here, the community umbrella.
Yeah, one of the really neat things about building in Replit are different services you get, like authentication, databases, AI integrations, connectors. So maybe there's like a novel way for you to bring in connectors. Like that's like you're connecting to a Notion, you're connecting to Gmail, a calendar, or like into like a HubSpot, for example. And then also AI integrations. Maybe you bring in AI into your app in a very interesting and novel way. I think other things to think about is what can you do on your phone that you can't do otherwise? What options do you have there? Like the accelerometer, you have your GPS mapping system, you have your camera. What interesting things you have, alerts, notifications. What interesting things can you do in the Apple? In the mobile space that you can't do otherwise. This past week at the hackathon, one of the participants had a really interesting build, a really cool submission. Essentially, it was sort of it was an app that would force you to do things, otherwise bad things would happen. So, for example, you would go into the app and you would say, like, if I don't wake up by 6 a.m. tomorrow, then I'm going to have this tweet automatically go live saying something embarrassing about myself. Or if I don't complete my workout by 5 o'clock tomorrow, then it's going to automatically send like a rude message to my father-in-law or something to that effect. So again, that's like something handy that you might want to have with you and build out. So I thought that was a really cool, and that person actually made it to the top 10. So during the hackathon, so just an idea there.
Awesome. And then a couple of quick questions I'm going to answer here before we go back to Raimar. So yes, this event is recorded. So afterwards, you can go to our the Replit YouTube page. You'll be able to see the beginning portion where Raimar kind of dives in and does this build out. So more than welcome to check it out there. The second thing is you do not have to show progress on social media. It's not completely like required, but it'll definitely help you stand out. Like we want to show, I think the bigger things about the Buildathon are really about like showing others like how anyone can do this, right? We're getting people who are not engineers, don't have a developer background, all these sort of kind of different just use cases. A lot of people are intimidated to even begin. Myself, I never thought I'd build a mobile app. We did an internal hackathon here at Replit, and I was shocked at how simple it was to actually be able to get it over the line. And our goal here really, yes, getting everyone great prizes is really exciting, and the Replit iPhone is awesome. But at the end of the day, we just kind of want to showcase and show people like the future is now, essentially, and not anyone can kind of build the projects they've been hoping to build for some time now. And it's easier than ever to do it. On
And
that
I'll just
last,
say, sorry, Francisco, just jump in. I would highly encourage you to post on social media. This is a common theme that we're seeing in all of our live streams. It's getting easier and easier to build. So now everybody can build. Well, then what's going to be the differentiator? And the differentiator is going to be how well are you at getting attention? How well are you at getting your app in front of people? And social media is the cheapest, the best way to do that. So I think that's a muscle that we all have to build. And for all of us, for me, Francisco, Reimar, like when we all started, like it was nerve wracking. You didn't want to share what you were doing. What are people going to say? I'm kind of embarrassed. You got to get over that, and you got to figure out, how to get comfortable with that. You got to figure out how to do it. Like, how do you record stuff? How do you edit it? How do you share it? You got to figure out the copy. How do what's the headline? How do you get people attention? How to share it? How to like have it go quasi viral, get some attention, and get it in front of people. So I think but I would highly encourage you to start doing that now, just as a muscle that we're all going to need to build over time.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Manny. Absolutely. And yeah, so, and then again, for the folks that maybe joined in a little bit later, yes, once you sign up and register, there will be Discord links being sent out at the end of the day today. But with that, I know a lot of people wanted to hear from Reimar, so I'll pass it back over to Reimar. And maybe one thing, Reimar, I saw a question from Patrick here, who's been with us for a while. Just maybe do a little quick overview of the process of kind of getting it into the Apple Store at the very end, and just kind of like an overview what that looks like.
Yeah. Let me go back to this view. Let's see if it's going to hang on. Let me see if it's going to. Oh, I'm going to have to reshare my screen real quick. 1 second. All right, there we go. Okay. There's the build. Let me move this over. Okay, great. All right, so maybe we should just do a real quick recap of what we built, and then what we could do is we could just go ahead and fire this off and maybe actually send it to the App Store. So maybe let's do that. Let's just go through. I still have my screen share here. And what we created was an application that allows me to take photos, and what you're seeing here are photos that we've taken, and creating a color palette. So basically I can point this thing at any image I want, anything I want. Actually, let's do one right now because I've got this can of, let's see, Waterloo water in front of me. So we're just going to take a photo of this, use the photo, and what this is doing is it's going to extract not just the color, but it's going to then create a prompt. And so this again was something we built during the live stream here, during the first half of the live stream. I think it took us about 25, 30 minutes to get this thing working and figured out. And so what I'm showing you is a demo here. There we go. So now you've got an image. It's got a style prompt that is extracted from the image itself. So this is like, let's say you wanted to upload some design inspiration or something like that, and maybe you want to copy and paste this style prompt along with the different colors. You can copy the hex codes or the RGB codes or any of the other different color codes here, and then it saves that. And what I just noticed here too is that it created an easy way to kind of share if you wanted to send the color codes to somebody, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then it stores those on the front here. So in the course of the first half hour of the stream, before my technical issues, sorry again for that, I'm not really sure what happened there, but we were able to basically build a real simple functional application. Here you can see we did it in the web app as well, and it does the same thing. So what we're going to do is from here, we've tested it on Expo Go. That's how I got it to this view here. So I scanned with my camera this Expo Go. And what we're going to do is I've already created an Apple developer account, and what we talked about before is that you will need an Apple developer account to submit this into the App Store. And that's kind of where it goes from there. Once you've kind of tested this on Expo, you're going to come over here to publish. Let's see, we'll just go palette dash picker. All right, that's available. We're going to make it public. And then let's publish. We're not going to enable any feedback. Let's go. Let's just click publish here. And it's going to do the whole process of publishing it just like would inside of any other Replit build. And then as a part of that process, it's going to give me the opportunity to go ahead and send this to the App Store for testing. And then we can load it in on test flight or And I'm not sure, I think my test flight account might be logged in on my other browser extension, but we'll figure this out. Do we still have, let's see.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I don't have my second monitor right now, so just a heads up, I'm not gonna be able to kind of see or interact with other stuff. So
no worries. We've got some questions here around, does it need to be a mobile app for you to submit it? Yes, it has to be an app that you build with the new mobile type in Replit. So thank you to B. Thosen for answering that. So yes, it needs to be a mobile app build. Another question that we're getting here, can you participate from Nigeria? The answer is yes, right, Francisco? This is an international competition. We worked really hard on making that possible. So yes, anywhere in the world you can participate.
Yeah, the finance team really had to negotiate there with us, but yes, we're able to support internationally. So huge shout out to them. Thank you, Tim and all of them. Awesome. I'm also seeing Android Play Store. Again, it's one of the top requests, so we hear you, and it's definitely something that's on the team's radar as we kind of try to make it easier to be able to get that up and going. Another great question is, do you have to deploy to the iOS store? No, you do not have to deploy to iOS, but we do need at least a test flight link to be able to see and preview the app that you submitted.
That's a great point. Yes. So it needs to be in the Apple ecosystem and needs to be a test flight app for us to test. And I guess it would add us to the group of external testers for that build. Somebody also asked whether or not you can test on an Android application via Express Go. My understanding is yes, that you can go to the Android Play Store and download the Expo Go. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Yeah, it's linked right there, and you can download Express Go, and you can test on your Android device from that QR code. Another question around credits to try this out. There is a starter plan that we launched a month ago that gives you free credits to build with Replit. And just be mindful that you have a daily limit on what you can build on with that starter plan. But the good news is that it'll refresh on a daily basis. So if you run out, just wait 24 hours and then come back and try to build again.
Well, and this is also, again, going through, like if we wanted to show here, I think to build this application was like $7, so if we go through 75 cents here, 72 cents, so that's $1.50. Here's $1.36, so let's call it $3 just to make it easy. Here's another $2.83, so let's call it, there's $6 total. So there's $6 on the first, and not really, it's like $5.75 or something like that if you get precise with it. And then if we look at this, worked for 46 seconds, another 50 cents. So, $6, $7, we're at the point where we're publishing to the App Store. So there you saw I clicked publish. It went through the entire publishing process, and then we're gonna just click here, and then you're gonna see this whole new UI pop up. That's actually gonna do the translation from between here to that App Store. And then when you preview now, you'll also see that there's like, well, we'll show you this in a second. So, okay, targeting the App Store, choose Expo Project, Palette Picker, Project Slug, okay, we'll continue. You could customize these if you want, but I'm not gonna because that's what we wanna call it.
And before we move on, if you scroll up, when you chose the Expo project, you can do new, but you can also add to an existing project. So if you already have something in Apple App Store Connect, you can just do a new build to that existing project. So just something to note, if you're like upgrading an already existing build, you can select that option. Just wanted to call
especially if you've already sent it. So I think that'll come after you've already sent it, then you can reconnect because it's a different project here. So then you can resend your updates back to the App Store also through there. So let's see, I'm gonna dox myself here. Apple developer password, ooh, let's do,
I love Replit 100.
There we go, sign in.
Very much.
I just wasn't sure if it was gonna show the preview because okay, great. So I've signed in with Apple. So that's what that last step was. I was signing in with my Apple developer account. I'm going to, again, name it app.replit.palettepicker. Okay, create the app. So you see, I haven't done a whole lot here. I'm just kind of following along with the prompt. Okay, choose the Apple app, select or create an app on the App Store. We'll launch your app here. It's doing the prep work on the back end for us. And again, I didn't start a clock on this, but you know, we're not in for more than a couple minutes here. So let's see, create a new distribution. Apple uses distribution certificates and provisioning profiles to publish your app securely. Launch automatically selects valid certificates and profiles for you. So we'll just create a new certificate. Sorry, it keeps triggering my 1Password here. Okay, so there's a distribution certificate. All right, provisioning profile. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, continue. Launch to App Store. That's it. So you just basically walk through, click all the buttons, make sure that, you know, obviously the name, convention, everything you want to use is right. There is a process when you're in the App Store that, you know, you'll have to come up with the assets and the screenshots and some of the other things that Apple requires for you to be able to publish this, which can take some time. So keep that in mind, that even though this is super simple, you still will have to go through on the back end of the Apple App Store system, your developer account, and configure the screenshots, the product description, and obviously go through the you know, the verification process. But now when you preview this or you publish and you go to, like, let's say this URL here, this is something you can now share with folks so that if they have the Expo Go app, they can also jump in and test this with you. Or you can go one step further and invite them to through the test flight account. So let's go here, account. Okay, again, it's going to ask me to log in. All right, let's go to my...
Just want to give a quick shout out to the AI Consultant UK. Thank you so much. I love when the community helps each other out, and he's in there fielding some questions. Thank you.
This is where, let's see, code level, where are my apps? Yo. Program resources. Am I in the right place is the question.
You might have gotten an email too with a link to the build.
Yeah, let me jump out of screen share. I'm just afraid of
no problem.
So let me just drop the screen share and pull that up, and we can go into the process here.
No problem. While you're doing that, a couple of other questions to field. Is there going to be support via the Discord? Okay, so me and Reimar and Francisco are going to be very active in the Discord, trying to help you out as much as possible. We're also going to have live office hours for you to come in and chat with us as well. In terms of like getting to all of your tickets and all your issues and problems, we may not be able to do that, but we're going to try to do that as best as possible. That said, we're also going to be scraping the Discord for issues and tickets, and then we'll be passing that on to our support team in sort of either on a daily basis or on a regular cadence to make sure that you're getting visibility on your issues. But in terms of getting support, yes, me and Reimar and Francisco are going to be there. We're going to be trying to help you out as much as possible. And again, we're going to have office hours as well for you to come in and talk to us about what issues you're having.
Yeah, and one thing to clarify is that there is actually a community help channel. So basically, this is the perfect place to actually help one another out as you build. A lot of times, the hiccups that you may be facing or the different things, you know, that you might be like kind of getting snagged on, others have already overcome. So highly recommend joining the community help channel within Discord. Invitations will be going out to anyone who registered at the end of the day today. And then one thing I would always recommend, no matter where we are or anything else that's kind of like out there, is always submit a ticket first. I would always submit a ticket first before following up with like account specific issues. So we're going to be partnering up with our support team, and we'll have a little bit of a additional layer of support that's very light, probably by the end of the week this week. So keep an eye out for that as well. But always submit a ticket when you can, because it makes it so much easier for us to help on the back end.
All right.
Correct.
So I found if we want to walk through here, so you can see the different apps that I have submitted in here, and here's our palette picker. So again, it's going to ask you for the different resources for iPhone, iPad if it's iPad compatible, Apple Watch, etc. And you got to come in and kind of fill all this stuff out. You could come into test flight here, and yeah, this is where you can start. Upload your builds. Okay, I don't know why it's not here. Oh, okay, maybe here it is. There you go. So you can add your testers. You can create internal groups. This is where it'll ask you for their Apple ID, for their email, to send somebody an invite. So you're able to then start sending this out to other folks. If they have the test flight app installed, you can invite them via an email to load it on their phone, just as if it was an app in the App Store. I think you get 90 days to test in test flight before you submit for review. And I'm not exactly sure, again, I'm not 100% sure if you can refresh that or what the process is for refreshing that. But yeah, I mean, this from here, like now it's on you to kind of go through all the little extra steps to get this published via the Apple App Store. But as you can see, from start to finish through the stream, excluding some technical difficulties, yeah, we're in the place where, all the magic happens here. You submit this. They might come back. If you get rejected from the App Store, don't feel bad. That happens quite a bit, as we talked about in the last stream last week. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes maybe there's a little technical issue. Maybe something's not described properly. They'll usually give you some kind of description or feedback or some kind of really vague idea of what you need to fix, and you just have to go through that process, make those fixes, and then resubmit that. So I'll actually probably go through that because I like this color picker app. So we'll go through that process here, and maybe for the Buildathon, we'll come back and have like an actual app that you guys can check.
And Raimar, let me describe the process that I went to. I got my app approved for the App Store, but I got rejected 3 times. The first time, okay, so the first issue that I had was around screenshots. So I think right now on the Replit side, it defaults to saying that it is iPad compatible. And so when that gets sent over to the App Store, Apple thinks that it's iPad compatible, so you have to include iPad screenshots. But I don't have an iPad, and so I just try to hack it, and I try to do the iPad screenshot dimensions, and then copy paste in the pictures from the mobile from the phone version of it. But it got rejected. The reviewer saw that, they're like, hey, actually, these aren't iPad screenshots, dude. What are you trying to do? So then I had to go back to Replit and had Agent change that and default it to iPad non-compatible. And then I resubmitted, I republished on Replit, followed the same widget that you saw Raimar do with Expo launch. And then it came in as a new build on App Store Connect. And then I deleted all of the iPad screenshots I had in there and then resubmitted. Then I got rejected again because of I had the wrong privacy settings or something. Because originally I had a feature on my app where you would turn on the camera and then it would see you dance, and then as you dance, then my unicorn in my app, it was like a unicorn companion app I built for my 5-year-old niece. It would see you dance, and you would see yourself dance, and it could record it, and the unicorn would dance along with you. But Apple threw out a whole bunch of privacy things I had to include, you got to tell people about it or you got to navigate it, and it was a little bit too complicated for me. So I just went back to Replit and had Replit Agent remove all of that camera functionality and just remove it all together. So yes, you will. It's normal to get rejected from Apple. It happens all the time, especially if you're submitting stuff for the first time. But I just, again, you can change things on the review side, on the Apple side, or if you have to, you can change things on the code base. One other question that we got, Raimar, was around, someone wanting to change the code themselves. And yes, even though the interface to build is really straightforward with Agent, you could always access the underlying code in that application if you want to review it, if you want to make changes. So, Raimar, I don't know if you want to share your screen and just kind of show them where that is, and or I can just describe it to you. So if you go onto Replit and you hover on the right-hand side, there's going to be a little panel for you to bring in the code base, and then you can bring in all of your file structures and look at that. So let's see if Ryan can show you that here. And all the underlying code is right there. So if you want to make manual changes, there it is. If you want to make manual changes, if you want to see how the project is structured, if you want to learn about how to set up these projects, you can go into that and you can update that as you go. So definitely have access to that.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that folks need to, I mean, because some of these other Vibe code platforms aren't this robust, but you have to remember that Replit was just a state-of-the-art social IDE before the agent stuff came in. And so everything you can do in a modern integrated developer environment, IDE, you can do in Replit, which is what Manny was talking about. And so here's all your files for, again, the client is the front end. This is your client side. This is the front end stuff. Hooks is kind of, telling it what to do and how to trigger certain behaviors. Here's your screen. So here's some of your UI. And then if we got into the server, so here's the back end and some of the stuff that kind of tells it how to go and how to store data and where to find links and direct navigation. And so this is all in here, like Manny was saying, and folks ask all the time, like, who owns what and who owns the IP? It's yours. It's right here. You could sync this with GitHub. You could download this and deploy it on your own. You could go through, if you wanted to do all the manual stuff on your own and not use this like really easy, seamless publishing process. You could do that if you wanted. I'm not sure why you would, but it really is like a blank canvas for you here to just build and tinker with all of the digital functionality that you might expect from a modern development environment. It's just that the agent orchestration is best in class, and I think that's what really makes Replit top notch, is that all this stuff is integrated. It's all in the same place. Again, even from a database perspective, like here's our database for that stuff. And so now I can go and see the different things. And I'm in the production database, but maybe in the development database, I'll see some stuff. Maybe not, because maybe I'm not using the DB properly here. So anyway, talking without knowing properly, but you could, like, if the database was properly wired up, you could see all of the stuff on the back end here. I forget that on the mobile app, we're using local storage on the device, not the database here. And so for other apps, you may use other things in the database. But again, having this all integrated, having it all in one place, having the code, having the files, having the agent, having context with everything is like what really makes Replit unique.
We got a question here. I want to use my own code for my repositories on GitHub, copy, paste, and agent builds. There is a way to import an existing Git repo. I know Matt has a tutorial on that, so I will try to include that in the follow-up email. But yes, you can bring in your own existing repos to start building with agent.
Yeah. Let's see, heard from founders, developers. Sometimes, what does it say? The AI agent erases the whole codes. Does this happen on Replit? That's not something you need to worry about, because even if for some reason it did happen, which I've never heard of it happening, you can always go back to a checkpoint. You can always restore the database. There's one-click restores for all this stuff. This is not a thing you have to think too hard about or worry too much about. I do know, I just want to say, Francisco, I know you got to drop here at some point. So if you got to jump off, no big deal. I think we're close to wrapping up the build here as well. We've got an action-packed week ahead of us. If you're part of the Buildathon, keep an eye on that Discord. If you're not part of the Buildathon, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go ahead and sign up to the link and get involved in that. The Discord's going to be a lot of fun as we start hanging out. I promise I got some cool things up my sleeves. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're gonna learn all of this together, right? I'm excited to push the limits of this. I've been excited to build mobile apps for a long time, and I've been head over heels here with the Replit tool, like learning about some of this mobile stuff. And so I'm excited to share that knowledge with you. I know Manny's got a bunch of insights that we're going to take into all this. And so yeah, just come hang out with us and let's see what we can build. How far can we push this thing?
Absolutely. Thank you so much all for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm seeing a lot of comments, support for Rymar. And again, thanks for hanging in there with us, y'all. And again, we're building together. We're going it live. And there's actually going to be more of these builds on the Discord side, as Rymar mentioned. But again, sincerely appreciate everyone joining us today. More programming to come soon. Some things to be announced for later in the week. And thank you again for all of your comments. This is all feedback that we share with the team, and we really appreciate you joining with us today. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Can we answer this one question real quick just before we go here? Sorry. Still not clear how I edit the code and go from Replit to Expo. I'm going to show you one last time because I think that's an important thing. So let me just show you here. This little QR code, you have to download the Expo code, and then you scan this QR code with your phone, and it will load in the Expo app the application itself, and so then you can refresh and pull that in. So really, whenever in doubt, just check the UI in Replit, because right next to your preview and in the publishing pane are like all the step-by-step stuff. Like, it's going to walk you through. So whenever in doubt, just go right into the Replit UI, and you'll be able to see in that preview pane. One thing I didn't show you is I'm not actually screen sharing, so I guess it doesn't help. I thought I was screen sharing. But right in the Replit UI, in the preview, there's a little QR code that you can scan. Click that. It's going to open the Expo Go link. You'll scan that from your phone. You'll be able to load the app. And you got to dig in, right? Dig in. Everything's right there at your fingertips. It's an exciting time to be a builder. And we'll check you all. Do we know when our next stream is? Are we teasing that? Or we just stay tuned?
We have for mobile builds, we have an office hours on Friday, I believe. And you should see, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our Luma calendar for Replit. And then also on Wednesday, I'm going to be on the Snowflake developers live stream to talk about vibe coding data apps on top of Snowflake. So Snowflake is like a big data web repository where you keep a whole bunch of data, and we're using Replit to pull that data in and start vibe coding different applications like dashboards, charts, reports, etc. So that's on Wednesday. I did a promo on that. You should check my socials for that. But again, that's going to be on the Snowflake developers channel. But we also have an RSVP for you if you want to check out our Replit calendar on Luma.
Right on.
But yeah, more to come soon, as Reimar mentioned. And again, you all, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you all very, very soon. Happy building, everybody.